Now. Greetings, fellow disciples. Come gather round, and we shall share with you the love and the light that the Heavenly Father Firearm hath bestowed upon us. Come, share thy stories of ballistic wonder, of substance, triumphs, of camaraderie and campfires. Ye shall be blessed, O brothers, for this is the Ballistically Speaking podcast.
This right here has the ability with a 30 caliber clip to disperse with 30 bullets within half a second.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
You're listening to your weekly dose of BS, Ballistically Speaking. The Ballistically Speaking podcast.
I feel
This
like
worked there, Friar Tuck, but it's subsistence.
What did I say?
I don't know. Assistance or something.
Did I say sustenance?
Sustenance or something.
I think I said sustenance triumphs. Whatever, man. I didn't write that shit. I just had to say it at the
put
last
it in
second.
front of you. All you got to do is read.
When you're trying to read something quickly, subsistence, it sounds like or seems like sustenance if you've never read it before.
Jonathan Bergen, I think he is as well as Chris needs some reading lessons. What's on the BS menu today? Well,
the title does say
TriggerTech
Canada.
For Christ's sake.
It says it right there. The name is in the title.
I know we sent you guys TriggerTech hats.
No, not hats. I never got a hat.
I'm pretty sure, Rooster.
Do you have the hats?
I may have failed.
Did you just like hoard all of the TriggerTech hats, you bastard?
I think I did send the one addressed like last year. Oh, sorry.
Oh, scheisse. I'm a good kid. You guys, come on.
I'll get a TriggerTech hat next year. So you see behind me on my safe there? You can only see the front two, but there's 6 TriggerTech stacked back there behind me on top of the vault. The least I could get is a goddamn hat.
Yeah. Well, if we had more than 6 hours notice, we would have sent you guys some swag.
Yeah. Well, there's that.
We don't do notice around here.
It's all good with me.
John is correct.
Jonathan is alluding to.
Yeah. The title is usually only 5% of the podcast. Usually. Well, it's going to be the whole goddamn thing tonight.
Well, apparently there's some pork of some sort smoking where Mark's at too. So yeah. I mean that could
That's why he's in the dark. He's joining us from his backyard.
Yeah, so I do apologize. The creepy Halloween backyard. I had nothing prepared for that. Doing a house renovation, and we were running some wires the weekend with my brother, and I lost power to my gun room. So usually I do my podcast in my gun room with all kinds of guns and cool stuff. There's no power down there, and I'm also smoking pork belly burnt ends, and I had a fire going, so I figured, why not do it out here in late October in Canada?
What's the temp out there right now?
It's just above, I don't know, 5 or 6.
Something it's not terrible. It's not terrible.
A few hours north, we had some snow last couple of days, but yeah, it's just above freezing at nighttime here, so. Pretty close to fire.
So it's about the same as here lately, I guess. For the record, we're less than 5 minutes into the show, and you already have a request for an SKS trigger.
Oh, jeez. It's been pledged $12 for R&D.
Yeah.
Hey, big spender.
You already have one in R&D.
Well, that could be the only thing we could have, in the near future. So we might have to.
Yeah.
Well, that's a sad fact.
Need a trigger. I'll give it that. It does need a trigger.
Yes.
I suppose it does, but then so does the Enfield and the Type 97.
That was my panic. The AR band came in a couple of years ago. That was my panic the day of buy. I went online and found the SKS, so I just bought something.
Right.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, well, I didn't have one, and I was like, "What could I buy that's not expensive that I could get before the band comes in, or who knows? We don't know what's going to happen, right? So
I'll be honest, I panicked.
it's still in the packaging, and I haven't touched it. It made me feel that day.
I think I paid $125 for my Russian Ishvik Arsenal one.
Like 10 years ago.
What are they now? Like $500? Yeah, pretty much.
You could sell that and go to Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back then when they were like 125, 150 bucks or whatever, I thought, and I had seen on my personal range all the time, like the guys with the SKSs show up and to just like a full mat of steel cased casings, right? Yeah. And I'm like, it's just a fucking junk creator. I don't want one of those goddamn things.
Yeah. Man, half the time you show up to the range at the 100-meter or even the 50-meter range and just like on the line, everybody picks up their brass except for the SKS guys.
I know.
So it's just...
they're like smokers, those guys.
Yeah. Well, when your ammo comes in a spam can, like
yeah, exactly.
I'm not thinking that.
Maybe they're embarrassed.
Yeah.
What's that, Trent?
Said maybe they're embarrassed.
Could be. Well, you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing an SKS or two in my cabinet now, but I ain't paying $500 or $600 or whatever they're worth now. Not a chance.
Well, I'm gonna make fun of Spudman because like I also have a Ford Pinto. You don't see me like talking to everybody about it on the internet.
Yeah, should make a new engine for the Pinto.
Yeah, TriggerTech Automotive, first product. A nice 4-banger for the Pinto.
All right. Before we get too far into the weeds, should we take care of some of our obligations?
We should.
All right. So again, just like every time we come on the air, we're backed by some excellent people. Some of them being call sign 66. Are you just starting out in the precision shooting world? Do you want to refine the skills you already possess? Are you looking for guidance to take your job to the next level? Train with call sign 66 for standard setting instruction and become part of the reason why Canadian riflemen are renowned worldwide for being some of the most proficient in their craft. Collaboration and contribution are vital to team success. Welcome to the Brotherhood. For upcoming training dates and to find out more about the call sign 66 team, go to callsign66.ca.
You rewrote that, didn't you?
No, I didn't. That's been there.
Are you sure? Is that how we've been saying it? Because that sounded fantastic today. I don't know why. Maybe I haven't been listening the other times.
I don't think you've read it for a while.
Okay. Well, regardless, we're also brought to you by Odell Engineering. They're the geniuses behind the Canuck line of firearms. Odell Engineering is your premium importer and distributor of some of Canada's top brands of firearms, including Bergara, Rock Island Armory, Mission First Tactical, Hyperfire, and of course, the Made for Canada Canuck firearms. Find their products and a supporting dealer at OdellEngineeringLTD.com, on Facebook at Odell Engineering Ltd, or walk into your local gun store and tell them Phil sent you.
We are also brought to you by EM Precision Rifles in Leduc, Alberta, building Canada's finest precision rifles. Commission a build today at emprifles.ca.
And Bolt Action Coffee, bringing specialty coffee to the precision shooting world. Order coffee and merchandise at boltactioncoffee.com.
I don't know if I could top that.
Oh,
Apex Optics. When you buy Apex, precision comes standard. Find them at apexoptics.co and grab yourself a rival 4-32 rifle scope and get on the mailing list for more exciting products coming soon.
And Ribstone Gunsmithing, craftsmanship done right. Contact Oscar at ribstonegunsmithing.ca and breathe life back into any firearm.
March Scopes Canada, the Dion optical design line of rifle scopes, has a scope for all your hunting and shooting needs. Find Doug and Niza at marchscopes.ca.
Holy cow. There we go.
Record time.
Was that record time, though?
It may have been. I don't know.
Phil said, what does Phil mean? What timing? Meaning he's got perfect timing, logging on 9 minutes after we started the show.
Yes. I'd say he missed some of the better part of the show.
I think he did. We started out really strong today. And
Chris gave us German.
Yeah, we're going to be relying very heavily on Mark and Trent to help carry it from here. So let's introduce our guests officially. We have Mark and Trent with us from TriggerTech. We put in the title TriggerTech Canada, but I mean, like, duh. So let's just say TriggerTech. They are the world-renowned makers of fine precision triggers the world over. That's a little bit redundant. How are things going, guys?
Great. Yeah, things are going great. Lots happening at TriggerTech. It's always very busy, and we're always working pretty hard behind the scenes. So, lots of new stuff coming out in the near future and beyond. So, good. How about you, Trent? How are you?
Things are good on my end. Keep your product requests coming. We do appreciate, everyone trying to get an SKS trigger and things like that. Obviously, we have to look at what triggers we're going to produce next. So, I mean, keep them coming. We may not be able to have them for, quite a while, but we do appreciate all your interest,
Or in the case of the SKS, perhaps ever.
Yeah.
Or is that?
Hey, I did get a Sturmgewehr from World War II request. That's going to be
Did you
quite
really?
some time.
No way.
Yeah, wow. I think your top three for R&D right now, it's got to be the SKS, the Enfield, and the Nagant.
Yes,
just got to 1, 2, 3 right there. And Jens, of course, big surprise. Jens wants the SL8 trigger.
Yes.
Of course. Yeah.
So let's talk about triggers, guys, because I think triggers are probably, a lot of people think about triggers last when they don't have the rifle, and think about triggers first when they shoot the rifle. Do you think that's a fair statement?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I guess there's a few things. Everyone kind of has their own opinion on it, but I mean, there's a couple things that you don't really want to skimp out on when you're purchasing a rifle or upgrading a rifle, and that would be one of them's definitely a trigger. You got your barrel and your glass are usually the kind of the three top things that most people say: buy a good barrel, get a good piece of glass, and get a good trigger. So it's a very common upgrade. People are buying factory Remingtons or doing custom rifles and stuff, and choosing a match grade or higher quality trigger. So that's kind of where we step in here with something that's a bit different. With it's not only it's a better feeling trigger, but there's a lot of benefits with our technology, and so we kind of improve on multiple aspects of the trigger's performance. So it's not just a lighter pull, it's not just no creep, it's not just it's more stands up more better to like harsh environments and stuff like that too, or along with service light. We do all of those things with our technology. So definitely, if you buy a factory Rem 700 or even try to custom rifle, the first thing I would suggest looking at more is a trigger, because it will make the world of difference on your accuracy, right? How you're pulling that trigger, how consistent it breaks, that pull weight to where you want it to be. How reliable is that trigger? We've all heard stories of guys in competition or on big hunts, and they try to pull their trigger and it doesn't go bang. So there's a lot that can happen. But investing in a good trigger is definitely something that people should look into.
Yeah, that makes 100%. A lot of sense. I
Yeah.
know. I ended up with a Remington 700 VTR, and I shot it for about 2.5 years with the factory trigger on it. Post recall trigger. And then I put a TriggerTech primary in it, and I wondered why the fuck I wasted all that ammo for 2.5 years previous. Yeah. It was a very remarkable difference.
It is, and we've all shot bad triggers, and but you're on the target and you're pulling. It's going to go off. It's not going to go off, and it's not consistent. It's
fall asleep.
And when you're doing some sort of precision shooting, where when the shot counts, if you're in a competition or you're hunting or something, or the shots count, and having a good trigger is definitely a key part of your kit.
Yeah, absolutely. So just so you're aware, I don't know if you guys are seeing the comments here, but I don't know what's happening here, if these are trigger recommendations or if we're just trying to list every rifle that exists on Earth right now.
Right.
But, we're going through quite the litany. There's several suggestions: the Browning X-Bolt, the Tikka, Tavor, and X95. Phil Odell is in for 4 triggers for Sturmgewehr if you decide to make that. Savage. That's 4, man. That's enough to at least take a look at it.
I want to get to this guy if he has 4 Sturmgewehrs though.
I 100% Phil will have 4 Sturmgewehrs. I guarantee that. I haven't seen them, but I trust in Phil's ability to have 4 of them for sure. Savage, whatever model, I guess. CZs, whatever models. I don't know if they want like 400 model or 500 model triggers, or maybe the new 600 for the CZ. I don't know. I'm going to throw my recommendation in there since everybody just wants to throw their obscure shit out there. I think we need a trigger very seriously for the TNW Arrow survival rifle. You don't even know what that is, do you?
Kirk's like, come again?
Have you guys not heard of that rifle? It's a 9mm semi-automatic straight blowback carbine. It's the tits. Trent's looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Sorry, calm down.
Yeah, right beside SKS.
We'll get the all engineers on that Monday morning.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay, that's fair. Hey, I want to ask you guys a technical question. We're going to test your technical ability, because Trent, you were telling us before that you guys are not the engineers for the company. So let's see if you can do this one. What do you guys think?
Is this for points?
Yes, this is going to be for points.
I have no idea what's happening right
You get to call a friend 50-50 because
there's no.
I got the CCO on speed dial.
Man,
here.
we need to play that game sometime. Like call a friend has to be like one of the people on the on live chat or something like that. I don't know. We're gonna do that live on the air someday. We'll bring you guys back and we'll do it, but we got to prep for that first.
That'll be funny. Like call your mom or something. And
I think that would be awesome. I think that okay. Here's the question. What do you guys think is the most important difference between a standard, like a factory trigger, and any custom trigger that TriggerTech solves the best?
Zero creep.
Yeah.
It's the zero creep.
Yeah, the creep. Yeah, the creep and the consistency on the brake. So they're probably both. I would say, like, obviously creep is undesirable, but the consistency in the brake, knowing when your trigger is going to break, is so important, because you got your creepy, or sometimes it pulls at 1.5 pounds, sometimes it's 2 pounds, sometimes it kind of like skips over something. Like, it's just knowing exactly when your trigger is going to pulse. The consistency is huge. I would say the creep. Yes, you could have a creepy trigger, but if you know at least how much creep it had and when it was a break every time, you could kind of anticipate it. But obviously, the biggest benefit with TriggerTech is we have no creep. We're the only people that can do that with our technology. But I would say consistency, the consistency of the brake, and that's one big thing with TriggerTech too, with how we're set up, is that you hit the same brake every single time. What do you think, Trent?
Yeah, it's a great point. Like you said, even if the trigger is not top tier trigger, and it has a lot of grit to it, but if it's the same consistent grit every time, you got a good point there, Mark. I would say probably consistency, and even no matter what you adjust our trigger to, it's not going to change with that locking detent, with that adjustment screw. So wherever you set that to, it's going to lock in place. It's not going to walk out on you. That's a common question I get almost every day is, will this screw come out? And it will not. That click you hear is actually locking in place.
Yeah. So if you guys are familiar with an axle dedent, there are teeth that will kind of click in as it goes. So it doesn't come loose. It stays the same. Our triggers are configured very, very precisely so that you're getting that same pull weight every single time.
That is something that I've noticed. So lately, I've been testing a lot of 180 platform rifles for some insane reason. And what I've really noticed, so I was running mil-spec triggers in a couple of them for the initial reviews. And I just recently, so a WK Gen 2 and the Sterling R18, I had mil-spec triggers in them. And then I put the TriggerTech Gunner in the Gen 2, and I put the Diamond in the R18. And even though there's an obvious pull weight difference that's noticeable between those two triggers, I've noticed that like the only thing that's different between them is the pull weight. Like both of them are like you mentioned, they are very consistent. I've got the diamond set probably somewhere around 2.5 pounds. I've got the gunner. Obviously, is it fixed 5 or 5.5?
It's probably the combat. It's probably
Yeah, you
the
mean
fixed
combat.
5.5's combat.
Is it? I thought it was called a. Hang on a sec. I thought it said gunner on the box.
Probably say combat. We don't make a gunner.
Well, that should answer it then. I would
So
say.
We'll wait till he confirms it.
I'm just on drugs, guys. It says combat fixed 5.5.
Yeah. So the combat does have a different take up. I believe it's 3/4 pound, where the diamond is 1/4 pound on the take up, and then there's a heavier reset, like a much more pronounced reset on the combat. So they actually will at the same. Well, you can't get them at the same pull weight because the diamond only goes to 4 pounds, but the diamond is lighter, is a lot more sensitive. It is more fine tuned for those precision shots. Where the combat is, as the name implies, if you're in combat, you're running around, you're doing something, you've got that that harder take up, and then a lot much longer, more forceful reset on it.
Are they considered 2-stage triggers?
They are. And so,
because that first, like when you said the take up, like there's not a whole lot of take up on them.
It's just 2 millimeters of take up. There are short take up on them, but I mean, like I said, there are the models. The heavier the pull weight, you get some heavier take up and some heavier resets.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So we are coming out with single stages very soon.
Yeah.
Are you?
We are.
But now you already have single stages for a lot of the bolt guns, right? Like for the Remington, for example.
We did. So we were always a single stage company on the bolt guns. I think about 2 years ago, we came out with a 2-stage trigger, which is a phenomenal trigger, by the way. We have a few patents on that trigger alone.
Okay.
Just briefly on our 2-stage. If you took the triggers apart and you looked at the insides of a 2-stage, it kind of looks like if you took apart a Terminator or something. There's so much more going on inside there. So we do, one thing to note real quick is that we do have 4 points of safety on our 2-stage. So 2 of the points to note are when you're on safe, there's a first stage lockout. So when you're on safe, you cannot actuate the first stage. So a lot of 2 stages, they're on safe. You can still move the first stage. So you're on your big trophy buck or something. You pull the first stage, you think you're off safe, and you keep pulling. Oh crap, I'm unsafe. So it's nice to know you can't even move the first stage. So you know you're unsafe right away.
Right.
And the other one which is unique to TriggerTech, is you are technically on safe. Even when you're on fire, you're technically unsafe until you actuate the first stage. So until you move that first stage, it's impossible for our sear to drop.
Okay.
So that is unique to us, and that's something we're pretty proud of. So it is a great trigger, a very safe trigger. A lot of new technology went to that one, I thought. So our 2-stage is a great trigger if you're into that stuff. I am a single stage guy. So 2 stages on the REMs came out about 2 years ago, and then our so we've always had 2 stages on our ARs, and then the single stages are coming out next month, which I am super excited of because I am a single stage guy, and they feel amazing. So we're really excited for the release next month.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So obviously with the single stage, you don't get that quote safety feature, but obviously you also you don't have to worry about it going off if it drops or anything like that.
Right, on the REM one. Yeah, that's correct.
Unlike some SIG or other rifles in the past with their factory triggers.
Yeah.
But even, that if I was going to put a serious recommendation in for another trigger, it would be the SIG Cross.
You may or may not be working on that.
Well, that's fucking beautiful if you are. And that was the big problem with the SIG Cross is when it first came out, they had to recall the trigger pretty much immediately because it would fire by itself under certain conditions.
Yeah, I mean, SIG makes great products, great company. We do make triggers for the SIG MPX and MCX as well too. And yeah, I mean, we have a bunch of SIG crosses in the house. It's a nice rifle, so we are looking forward to that too.
So I just very quickly caught this. The chat's been going nuts, so I haven't really.
I can't see the chat. Is there any way I can see the chat? I can't.
Oh, there should be Oh, are you on mobile?
I'm on like the Google Chrome.
On your phone though?
No, I'm on a laptop.
Just get out a full screen, and you should see the chats on the side.
Yeah.
I see private chat. Do you have to log in or something?
No,
Go
not
to
private chat.
comments.
You should just want comments.
Oh, comments. Okay.
Jesus, Mark.
All right, I'm in. Now I can.
I'm
I guess
gonna
I guess
take advantage of while he's trying to figure this out.
I
I'm
take
gonna
care of
grab
this
a
guy
couple.
at work. Don't worry.
yeah, I'm the tech guy in this conversation too. Here. Comments here.
So
Well, I don't-
single stage versus double stage. Have you seen like two stage when they first came out was kind of all the rage? Have you seen that carry through? Is demand as much for it now as it was in the beginning, or has it waned, or has it picked up?
Is this for the bolt action or for the airs?
Sorry, yeah, I should probably stipulate that. Yeah, like all the PRS guys and that we're trying the
Yeah,
two
so-
stage.
The single stage definitely dominates the preference of those PRS and NRL
Yeah.
shooters. There's no right or wrong answer if it's single or two stage. I mean, there's people, I got the take up. I know I'm at the wall. I know my gun's about to break, and that's what I like to have. Single stage guys, like I want the gun to break as soon as I touch it. There is that kind of, if you are putting tension on your finger and holding that first stage, there's a muscle working right there. So there's a chance that you may not be steady, but my triggers are pretty light on the first stage. So
yeah, they are.
like I said, there's no right or wrong answer on it. It's just what you prefer to do.
The diamond especially is very light on the first stage. So for all the goobers that are worried about this sort of thing, I've already proven this clear. So I don't know why, but some people want to see us pull the trigger on camera. So you guys can see all that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Assuming? Okay. So this is a
Yeah.
TriggerTech diamond. So first of all, that's all there is for like your take up. Like that's so little take up right there. So I want to make sure everybody can see this very well.
So we are coming out with something hopefully by the end of this year that will have a longer take up.
Yeah.
That's more geared towards, I guess, listening. We do train with a lot of the military units and the special ones too, and hearing the feedback with those guys too. So there will be something coming out later this year that we're pretty excited for. That will be a longer first stage and a heavier reset as well. It's kind of geared more towards that military crowd. There is some coming. I mean, like TriggerTech, we make very precise devices. These are precision shooting and stuff, but we will have something that is a bit more. If you were in the military or some sort of law enforcement application, this will be something more you're used to, but a much better quality trigger with no creep. So that is coming down the pipe. So we're very excited about some stuff coming up by the end of this year.
Speaking about reset and all that, so I'm trying to still get a good view here. So I've got the trigger depressed here, but I've recocked it, and you can, like, people can see here, like, that's very little movement for the reset,
Right.
and then very little movement to break the trigger again. So I don't know if people here. Let's see if maybe hear it here. Here's the reset. Could you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the break. Like it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, no, it's it is short. It is tactile. I mean, unfortunately, you can feel it. But these are the guys that you're shooting PRS or you're doing long range stuff, and your focus is totally different than if someone's running around, shooting 3-gun or doing something else when you're shooting at those low pull weights. And the nicest part of the diamond is too that you can dial up relatively quickly up to 4 pounds, and it's you do what you want to do with it, right? So.
Yeah, all you have to do is just open the top receiver, and it's right there to adjust the trigger rate.
That's right.
So this is what I mistakenly called the gunner.
Yeah,
but it's the combat trigger at 5.5 pounds. So we'll see. Get a good view here, and then we'll see how much movement we've got here. So that again, it's pretty much the same amount of movement. It feels like it, anyways. I'm assuming it is for the first stage.
It is. I think it's about 3/4 pound on the combat.
But in terms of the actual travel.
Travel is all the same, so it's all 2 millimeters.
Yeah, that feels like it. But yeah, you're right though. You do feel just a little bit. It's just a little bit stiffer. I'm not even going to say it's heavier because it's not really heavy at all.
We went from 1/4 pound up to 3/4 pound, right? So it is 3 times as heavy on the first stage. I mean, it's still sub a pound. So.
And then same thing. You can feel this, and this is what I was talking about earlier. You can tell that it's heavier to pull. But the movement, like you said, that just reset there. And then that, like, the movement is the same as it was in the diamond.
Yeah.
And the travel, I should say.
Right. As far as the travel and everything goes, that's the same. It's just but there is a bit more of a forceful reset. Can you feel that as well?
Yes, there is one, and
Yeah.
maybe it'll be more audible. Who knows?
That was much louder.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it is definitely it is definitely more
way
forceful,
different.
but I mean, it's not forceful. I mean, like it's not like a Type 97 reset or even a mil spec AR reset.
Brandon has a few questions. He says, in the meantime, Cappy's got some knowledge to drop on us. Single versus two-stage pros and cons. The two-stage process feels more deliberate, and I prefer it for movers. Cappy's first issue rifle was a two-stage, and that's where he cut his teeth, so he got used to it. Just a little bit of practical application there.
For those who don't know, that's Cappy from Call Sign 66.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, there's we kind of touched on before. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. A single or two stage is what you shoot best and what you're comfortable doing.
Right.
The two stage people say you've got that take up. It makes sure you it's an extra layer of focus. Okay, I pulled the first stage. I've hit my wall. Now I know the guns go off any second now. Some people like that added. It's kind of safety. It is good too. I mean, if you're hunting and you're wearing gloves or something, maybe if you're in law enforcement, maybe you want to have that extra split second to make sure before I take my shot. So there is a place for two stage on that. Single stage crowd, just based on our sales data and data from PRS and NRL and competitive shooters, most of them are shooting about 80 to 90% of them are shooting single stage triggers. And that's just because these guys are really in tune with their custom $15,000 rifles, and they know they want their 6-ounce trigger to, as soon as they go, it goes off. More force you put on the trigger and the pull weight, the more you're using muscles, right? And muscles move, they shake, they're not precise instruments. So that's why a light trigger pull is desirable if you're doing longer range shooting. But as far as a single and two stage, that's kind of that in a nutshell. But again, it's ultimately what there's top PRS shooters that shoot a two stage, and there's top ones that shoot a single stage.
I'm gonna try this two stage that I have on my ELR rifle. This year, see if that makes any sort of difference at all.
That's
It's definitely a different game.
Well, the King of 2 Mile,
700 trigger.
Chad's the King of 2 Mile. He shoots our two stage trigger, right? And
Okay.
so, it's what you're happy with.
Right.
It's same with a curved and a flat lever too. It's like, do you use a curved or flat? What's the pros and cons of that too? And it's all, that does depend on your application and what you want to do. I shoot curved on my bolts and I shoot flats on my ARs. I think the AR crowd is more of a customization, soup up your Civic kind of crowd. I think it looks custom and cool. But I really do like our flat lever because we have that little locator nub at the bottom of our lever. So it's really great for consistent trigger figure placement because I put the trigger right down the bottom. I feel that little nub. My fingers in the exact same spot every time. You get the same amount of leverage too. So with a flat lever, you can get more leverage if you put your finger a bit lower down as well. So the trigger pull can feel a bit lighter. But the curve is great because you got more space in your trigger guard. So if you're hunting or wearing gloves or outside cold environments, you've got more space in there as well too. Right. If you had short fingers, you flat the triggers further forward in the trigger guard. So that can make it more difficult too. So it's all down to the user and what they're comfortable with.
Okay, should we address some of these?
Did we address the forceful reset question?
We didn't.
Okay, let's do that.
Brandon's asking, what's the advantage of the forceful reset? The heavier reset on some of these.
You want me to try this one, Mark?
Yeah,
give you a break. Well, I guess so. On the combat, like Mark said, it's more of a duty-based trigger, so a little more real-world situation. Maybe a little bit of adrenaline.
Right.
So your strength in your hands is going to be a lot different than when you're at rest. In your green zone. So that forceful reset will kind of allow your body to know a little better. Hey, that this trigger is ready to go again. Rather than maybe the diamond, like Mark said, is more a precision competitive trigger. where these people are looking for very fine details, where in the duty side, the combat fits that perfectly with, like Mark said, that heavier initial take up, again, for that more stress environment.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
I just wanted to pick out one here. There's a couple further back, but this one kind of jumps out at me a little bit. Scotty Chitchell, he's asking if you can make an option for a wider trigger shoe, and you know I hate to paint people as certain color or whatever, but I think and I've first of all, I guess, where did you come up with your shoe width? Why did you settle on what you have settled on? Uh, Secondly, I guess I just wanted to say that I think the wider trigger shoe appeals to more, how do I say, utilitarian needs or what a guy's used to. Like you find it a lot with a wider finger purchase. It's I think it's more of a battle rifle type feel, if that makes any sense to you, as opposed to a narrower shoe where it's more precision. Exactly what you were just talking about, Trent. How do you settle on we're going to produce this width?
Sorry, was that directed towards me?
Yeah. Why did you make this?
Sort of
Trent?
general.
What's your problem? What you do this for?
Well, I imagine you must get it all the time. Like, can you make a wider shoe because it's what I prefer? I feel
to
my
be
finger
to be
better on it or
honest,
whatever.
like I get actually very few. Not to say I haven't. I've gotten a couple requests, but it's not something we get a whole lot. I might have got maybe half a dozen requests maybe in a year. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of just picked our, based on what's out there in the market and what people are used to, right? Is kind of, the width of the shoe was kind of picked on that. I mean, until a few, 4 or 5 years ago, we only had two shoe options. We had our flat lever, then we call our traditional curved, which is it's a curved lever, but it's got some bevels and serrations on it. And then we came with our pro curved lever, which is kind of a marriage of the two levers. Listening to some feedbacks from professional shooters where we kind of join the two. So you got this flat face feeling curved lever where it actually is the same width, but it feels wider because there's no bevel on it. And it just the feeling is remarkably different. So the idea was that you've got this kind of curved lever that's not bevel on it, and when you put your finger on it, it really helps with consistent trigger pulling back straight. So if you're pulling off to one side or left side, those more pronounced edges will dig into your finger, knowing, hey, I'm pulling, I can feel it. I'm pulling this way or I'm pulling this way. As far as sales wise goes, it just drastically outsells the rest of them, just because it is a much nicer feeling trigger lever that provides some immediate feedback to the shooter.
Okay.
So I've got one here. James Kopek was asking, how is the adaptable trigger for the FX9? Well, I would assume that it would be the same in the FX9 as it would be in any other platform, right? Like there's no specific. The FX9 just takes an AR trigger, correct?
It does take an AR trigger, but there are some differences. So
okay.
Good question, James. Thanks for asking that. So we do have 3 PCC triggers, so pistol caliber carbine triggers for the AR9. So we have our SIG MPX, we have a standard AR9, and we have an FX9. There are some differences between some of the features we offer on them, especially on the SIG MPX with a bumper system and different feet to absorb the much more violent blowback from that bolt carrier group in the MPX. But the FX9 actually has a lower bolt carrier group compared to standard AR9s. So we have a different hammer cut. So the hammer actually will come down lower to make clearance when that bolt carrier group comes back. Sometimes our AR-15s will work fine in an FX9. Sometimes they won't. But the big thing is you're trying to pull the bolt back, and the bolt carrier group the trigger hammer is not depressing enough for that bolt carrier to come back. So you do have to use our FX9 trigger with your FX9s. Just to get that clearance on the hammer. So we did. So there's no standard spec with AR9s like there is with AR-15. So they're a bit all over the place, and everyone's doing something different and stuff too. So one of the main differences is the bolt carrier group height. So we've kind of had 3 different flavors. We did an MPX, an AR9, and FX9 as far as hammer height. So we think we've kind of covered all the bases based on the variability in that platform, that we'd have something that would work well in your particular model.
Okay. Well, I pulled this out just because this is an adaptable trigger that's in this one, and I have it set a little heavier on the heavy side. I forget what does this one go to? The adaptable in terms of weight?
It's 2.5 to 5 pounds.
Yeah.
2.5 to 5. I've probably got it set somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 pounds, maybe. But it's again, it's the same. Like your take up is the same length of travel. It breaks a little bit heavier because I've got it set a little bit heavier. And then it, where are we here? It has the same travel for the reset. So it makes, I suppose the big difference between the adaptable and the diamond is, if you're deciding between them, is if you want to go down to that 1.5 pound pull, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the main difference is you get 1 pound lower, and if you're getting down that kind of that precision stuff, like one pound is a lot.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, so yeah, it's a pound difference. I mean, same with our REMs, our primary and our special is a half pound difference, but that half pound, when you get below that pound and a half, 1 pound is a lot of weight, especially for the shooters that are that in tune with their platform.
For sure. Yeah, it makes sense. Kay Wright was asking, did you find the diamond to be too light in that rifle? I've been doing like more like bench accuracy shooting since I put that trigger in there. So I actually haven't. I've been enjoying the much lighter pull and obviously the cleaner break and everything about the TriggerTech so far, especially because up until I replaced that like a week ago, I was just using a mil-spec trigger in it. So that answers that question. Did you have another question queued up there?
There are a couple here. One that's pretty simple. I think we actually touched on how does the increased poundage help, and I think that's fairly straightforward for most of it. It depends on your environment, right? It depends on what you're doing with it, whether you got gloves on or you're in a situation where maybe the adrenaline's running a bit high or something like that. I don't know if you guys got anything to add to that.
Just before we let them answer real quick, I'll say this. In my Remington, when I'm cold weather shooting with gloves on, I always turn up the weight on the trigger. For me, that's for me, but I want to hear you guys answer.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's a good safety idea. Obviously, you have gloves on, your hands are cold, and your hands aren't as they don't move as well when they're cold,
Right.
and we all know that up here in Canada as hunters. So that's definitely something to consider. I don't set my hunting rifles too light. I shoot my PRS guns around 8 ounces, I would say. So my hunting guns are pound and a quarter, which to me, obviously a bit more in tune trigger finger than probably the average Joe. But yeah, like most hunting guys are 2.5 pounds in around that range and stuff too, or they're doing 2 stages too, and that's just a safety thing, and it depends on what environment you're hunting in. It's definitely a great idea to dial it up, which is great about our triggers because it's so easy to dial the pull weight. You don't have to take the gun apart, take your stock off, change things, open trigger housing. You actually can go right through the trigger guard and adjust your pull weight with the supplied Allen key. So it's super easy if you're on the bench one day and you're doing whatever, then it's like, I'm going hunting next week, and you just kind of click that thing up, a dozen clicks or so to get up to a pound, and you're off to the races.
I very distinctly remember the first TriggerTech I had. I went and I saw that adjustment down at the bottom. And I thought to myself, thank Christ, like how hard was that, you guys?
Yeah.
So another question here that we're very much ignoring talking about all this stuff. What is the difference between a single and a 2-stage trigger? That's more of a general question, but who wants to take that one?
Trent does.
Yeah, I can take So yeah, the traditional 2-stage, like you said, you have that initial pull through, then you hit the wall, and the shot breaks. With the single stage, as soon as that weapon is charged, you're literally right on the wall immediately. So there's none of that initial take up. As soon as you're on the trigger, it's ready to rock. So some guys, like for the long distance shooting, like to have that a little bit of initial take up. For we're on target, make sure we have proper breathing control, then we can let loose that round. Little more close quarters, 3-gun competitive stuff where speed counts. Obviously, the single stage is where it's at. You don't have that initial take up, so there's not that kind of slap feeling with that 2-stage. It's literally just bang, reset, bang, and your splits can get mighty tight with that single stage. I did a lot of extensive testing, MPX, Air 15, 308, all single stage. It's just night and day. If you guys are looking for more rapid fire, like I said, competitive stuff,
If you want to spend more thousands a month on ammo, we need more semi-automatic. Well, you guys, Mark, didn't you say when I was talking to you at SHOT Show last year, you guys were working on a Ruger trigger? No, but that wasn't a 1022. It was for the Ruger Precision, wasn't it?
That's right, for the RPR. So I guess beginning of last year, we started supplying Ruger as an OEM. With a trigger, we have been working on the aftermarket triggers for a while now. Getting down to low poundage, so we offered in our diamond and our special models. So getting down to that low sub-pound pull weight is an engineering feat. I mean, there's a lot of things that come into play as far as safety, reliability, as far as parts matching up. We EDM cut all of our parts at the critical engagement areas too on our diamonds. So the diamonds are a different animal as far as an engineering and production feat. So it does take a bit longer. We do take our time with our products and make sure we get them
as
right.
you should, yeah.
And we are still anticipating a this year release for the Ruger RPR. The Ruger RPR triggers.
Not to pile on because we were joking before, and this is a serious question. Is there any talk at all about the 1022?
Maybe.
That's okay. That's good enough for me. I'll take that.
It won't be in the near future. But maybe.
Say that maybe. Okay, well, we'll leave it at maybe.
Not in the near future, guys. But it's a very popular platform. Ruger's a great company. Yeah. It's definitely something that's been on our radar for a long time. We will be getting to it.
It's also something I think that's probably sorely needed for 1022 shooters. Yes. Yeah, Ruger and SKS, boy, you're getting all the ideas here today.
Yeah.
James Kopek wants to know, what is the difference between the primary and the diamond? I'm assuming he's asking on the 700 triggers, I'm guessing.
Yep.
Well, let's go with that.
Mostly just the pull weight. So like Mark said, all the internals for 40C stainless steel. You're not, if you say, okay, well, entry level trigger, maybe I'm getting entry level parts, versus a diamond, which is their top tier trigger. It's not the case. So all the triggers are made the same, all the high end materials, all that precision is built into even entry level to our top tier trigger. So the only thing that will separate them is simply the pull weight. Obviously, with the lower pull weights, a little more engineering is involved to acquire that ultra low sub pound weight. So obviously the price point, is for that.
Yeah.
Just going off on that too. So our diamond is actually only compatible with cloned actions. So our diamond triggers are not compatible with factory Remingtons. So if you require the bolt release on the trigger, our diamond will not work. So we don't even offer the diamond with the bolt release. So our primary and special are two models we offer with and without a bolt release that are compatible with cloned actions and factory actions. So the reason why we don't make the diamonds with the bolt release that are compatible with factory Rem 700s is that there's so many models of Rem 700s and the action timing's kind of all over the place with timing and consistency and stuff. And when you're making a 4-ounce trigger, to be safe and reliable, that the action timing kind of has to be bang on. So it is made for the aftermarket actions. So that is something to note too. Don't buy diamonds and put in your factory Rem. No, we cannot put a bolt release on it. Unfortunately, it is a safety thing, and just make sure that the trigger works properly. We have had people that have blueprinted and timed their action and done stuff and been successful, which is not something that we suggest doing. So our special is offer the bolt release for factory Rem 700s, and that gets you down to 1 pound, which is more than low enough for most shooters.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Not a question, but a comment, and don't feel at all like you have to answer this one. Force reset, like that rare breed trigger that got the ATF all excited down south. I'm pretty sure that's already expressly illegal here, isn't it?
So it is a little confusing. On our website, we have FRT. That stands for frictionless release technology. Has nothing to do with the rare breed trigger, force reset trigger down the south. To be honest, that's a lot of questions Americans are asking currently over the phones. They're like, hey, I really want your trigger, but I don't think I can buy it because of this. So yes, a little bit of a
because they see the FRT acronym.
Yeah, so a little bit of confusion there, but rest assured, our trigger is not a force reset trigger. We're simply talking about the feel, the pressure of the trigger resetting, in what we were talking about, just to clarify that.
And on the other side, Canadians are wondering why you're advertising that your trigger has a firearms reference table entry.
Yeah. There's a lot. Yeah, I was in Savannah last year with those triggers, and yeah, you can shoot them pretty fast. That's for sure.
Yeah, I bet.
Here's a question going back a ways. When researching triggers, I saw some people talk about real or true two-stage triggers. Can you explain the difference, if that's actually a thing, and what TriggerTech's two-stage design is? It's a deep question.
It is. Go ahead, Trent.
You want me to put that back?
You have to put that back up. I just missed it.
Sorry, buddy.
Real or two-stage? Real or true? I don't really know what.
Yeah.
Real or true? If it's like I said, if it has like a single stage, there's no initial take up, so you're right on the wall when the weapon, when the firearm is charged. Two-stage, you'll have a slight take up. I don't know what he's referring to between a real and a true. Maybe Mark, if you can elaborate on that one.
I think a true two-stage is that you're actually engaged, sears being engaged on the first stage, where some people kind of have a two-stage where it's just like, spring take-up. There's no actual sears not being engaged and stuff like that. Don't quote me on this. We do have the answer for you. We can definitely get the answer again for you. This is more of a CTO question.
I'm going to find it now.
Yes, I understand there's a difference between like what people call a true two-stage. I believe ours is. But Blind Spotter, reach out to support at TriggerTech.com, support at TriggerTech, and we'll get the answer from our CTO on Monday for you. So, Blind Spotter, please email Trent. His personal email is Trent at TriggerTech.com. But he will get you that answer.
I will. Yeah, I will. I try to help everyone who submits a question to me will get an answer. So that's what I pride myself on the customer service side. So just to reiterate, if anyone ever has a question, like, hey, I have this platform, but will this trigger work? Will it not work? I don't want to take the risk to spend the money, have a warranty issue. So like I say, just reach out to us. Like Mark said, support at TriggerTech.com, or simply call us. And there's like a small dedicated customer support team. We basically work night and day to try to help everybody who's interested in TriggerTech. So just ask your question, will your trigger work in this? And I will give you a response.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, I'm just pulling this up right now. Trent's cell phone is 647.
Hey. I spend all day on the phone.
That's called internet bullying, Mark.
How dare you?
Right. I guess it's called online bullying. I don't even know what fucking term I'm bugging you about.
Who cares?
We have a very right. A very specific request from Doug with March Scopes Canada. He's got a Volquartsen 1022 with a crappy match grade trigger. What a joke!
What a joke!
He says, "Send me the first one."
Doug, we can do that.
Yeah. So before we move on too much further, apparently for our American listeners, we do just have to pronounce coyotes. So
yes, coyotes.
We'll get that out of the way.
Is what it is, at least in Western Canada, anyway.
Yeah. Do you guys say coyotes east? Oh wait, you're not out east. Yeah, you are out.
We're Toronto.
Yeah, you're in Toronto.
There's a whole other world here.
Yeah, you're in the cesspool that keeps voting for the wrong fucking people.
No, not us though.
Well, no, I'm not saying you are.
Just us two. We're the exception.
So back to the original question: how do you pronounce coyote?
I just call them yotes. I don't know if we can see here, but this is at the end of my street the other day, and
Oh,
it's
yeah?
hard to see. But they're pretty big out here. They feed very well on people's cats and raccoons and geese and stuff. And I'm kind of by the water on Lake Ontario, but and there's a whole bunch down there, and my dog hates them, and they always try to bait her into the tree line where they're
Oh
out there.
yes, they're sneaky bastards.
They are, yeah, and
Most of them need to die.
yeah, no, they're very well fed here, and they almost look almost wolf size. But they yeah. Anyhow, I call them yotes. I don't know.
Yotes.
But
What do you say,
that could be an American influence because I spent so much time stateside. I don't know what people call them here. There's no coyote hunting here. Obviously in Toronto, second or third biggest city in North America. So I'm not taking my 6'5" Creedmoor down the street.
No,
Oh, come on. Where's your sense of adventure?
But,
he's smack dab in the middle of Wokesville. That's not smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding.
I do hunt up north on a native reserve, about 3 hours north of here, and there's lots of wolves up there, and they're big.
I bet. For sure.
Yeah.
Trent, how do you pronounce it?
Coyote. Sorry. You were looking for some dramatic answer there. I failed you.
I wish you had a mic you could have leaned into before you said that. I call it.
You know, and I would appreciate if you guys pronounced it like the native word that it is.
Is it a native word?
I don't.
Is it?
I think it is.
Oh, you had me going.
Coyote.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
coyote up there, eh, boys?
That's okay.
I always get confused between that. I always think Nancy is telling me there's a coyote around, but she's telling me shut up in Spanish. Coyote.
Is that how you say shut up in Spanish?
Coyote.
I thought that was how you say the person that's going to help you across the border.
Yeah, well, see, that's
Oh.
a different animal altogether. But
I'll bet you the word is probably Spanish. It
My
probably is.
right here.
look at that. Oh,
Yeah.
There you go.
Jimbo, she's 10. She's got a gray face now, but she's a Mao with some lab in her. She's 90-pound female muscle, and she hates the coyotes.
Coyote.
good girl. Validation right there.
She's always angry at something. Very sweet. Very sweet.
Yeah, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah.
No, she's
No.
super cuddly and sweet, but she's very good.
I just came across this comment.
Yeah.
Chris, your government lets you have gloves. I figured they'd be illegal.
Not
Yes,
yet.
but they're
Not yet.
federally regulated gloves.
I think there was some mention about being added to the list, but not yet.
Yeah. Well, we already have a very extensive vetting and licensing process for our gloves.
Yes.
So
It's nice to know that we are so dangerous that we can't be trusted with all these things.
I know,
Just to level
know,
the playing
right?
field. Like
it makes me feel like such a badass.
if they had silencers and high-cut mags, that world domination we can have.
Yeah,
Polite
exactly.
Canadians, right?
So what, Bentley also says that we're not allowed to have scissors. We can have scissors and we can have gloves. When it becomes illegal is if you put the two of them together.
Yeah, well, you can't have assault scissors, or if they're black scissors, tactical scissors. If you have,
tactical
you
scissors.
rails
That's
on
big
them.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically exactly what Phil's sentiment. We're not allowed to have sharp scissors.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you put some sort of tactical sticker on it, it's prohib then.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, if like you saw them off, they're short.
That's right.
Blade scissors.
I'm going to take a black Sharpie marker to my scissors tomorrow and make some assault scissors. So Phil, everybody knows who Phil is, and if you don't, Jesus.
Oh, you betcha.
But he says cool on the 1022. Make sure that it works in the Bergara BXR as well. I can understand why he wants that.
Anything for Phil.
Anything for Phil.
Well,
now that 1022 maybe seems a whole lot more solid now.
Hey, that would be worth making something for Phil. That's for sure.
Exactly. I'm trying to get through. I don't know if we have any more actual questions or if this is all just bullshit and comments from here on in.
Lots of BS.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you like the savage? Yeah. Okay. Do you guys have any? Do you have another question for them, Kurt? While I just try to.
Andre has something to say.
Okay. Where's he?
He was like
handgun triggers.
Oh,
I think he was like placed at like the bottom of the list.
Sipka. Sorry.
What?
I butchered your name.
Okay. Say the question, then answer the question while I try and find it.
When are the handgun triggers coming?
Oh.
I believe I shot a PRS match with Andre and I beat him by a lot last month. Hey, Andre, how's it going, buddy?
It doesn't exactly answer the question, but it's
way to totally smear Andre. You know.
Well, I just want to see what he used to say in the comments. Andre's a good shooter, a good friend of TriggerTech's. So yeah, I guess we should talk a bit more what's coming out with TriggerTech. So we have been working on a Glock trigger for a while now. It's very, very exciting for us. It is a new adaptation of our technology in a different realm of firearm safety and things like that too. So it is something we are going full steam on. So we're hoping that early next year we have something coming out for the Glock. So we're very excited about it. Can't release too much details right now. It will be something different, as TriggerTech normally does. But I think it's going to be a fantastic product. So I look forward to that in the new year from TriggerTech. Unfortunately, I'm talking about this today as the handgun in Canada.
Yeah,
coming up next.
I thought it was just like there's no more importation, I guess. But now it's like I came in transfer.
No.
It's all
that's just as of today.
Yeah, I saw it today. But I saw that. I was like, I thought that was okay.
Yeah, it's fucked. So yeah, since August, the import ban has been in place, and now before it officially even apparently is adopted by Parliament, we're enacting the regulations which have now stopped transfers. A little bit of cart before the horse, but yeah.
Well, at least crime will go down significantly. Right?
Oh, I'm looking forward to that very much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I and here's the good news, I suppose. If we're gonna really look for a silver lining, is you can still put replacement triggers in the guns that you own.
Yep. For now.
For now, yeah. But you have to be in the dark with the lights out underneath your bed sheets. Otherwise, you're not allowed to touch your handguns anymore.
Yeah.
That's all I admire my
Yeah.
That's why you're outside in the dark right now.
Yeah.
I've always
We haven't seen his hands in a while, right? Oh, there.
Exactly. Sorry.
So I'm still going through the comments here. Phil is offering, I think he's offering a Bergara BXR if you guys need a test rifle for developing a 1022 trigger. I think that we just got one step closer on that, maybe.
Yeah, I'll definitely give Phil my home address to send that.
Send me any rifle you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I think Phil had mentioned this a long time ago, but we didn't mention it on the air, that the Bergara, was it the Bergara Premier Series come standard with TriggerTech?
Well, he did say something about that. That's what it sounded like to me.
Now, is that a branded trigger? Like, because you guys do that a lot. Like, you guys put triggers in a lot of companies' rifles, and you don't. It's not necessarily the production model replacement triggers, right?
Yeah, so a huge part of TriggerTech business is the OEM business. So we work with a lot of major OEMs, putting our stuff, our triggers in their guns as factory offerings as well. So Bergara is one of them. So yeah, they do use, I think, it's our primary trigger in their Premier series as rifles too. So Bergara is a great company to work with, and it makes a great product and a good partner of TriggerTech's.
Is that verboten to mention the OEM companies, or like, do the OEM companies care? Does TriggerTech care, or
Care about? Sorry,
about mentioning the companies that you OEM for?
Yeah, well, I think it's a mutual thing. I think TriggerTech has become a pretty leading trigger brand in his industry with a great reputation and something unique as well. So I think as far as OEMs offering that to their customers is an add-on and an added value. And TriggerTech, we're very proud to work with our OEMs, and I guess mention that we work with these great companies that we sell triggers to.
So if that's the case, then I'll out one more company because I know that he's comfortable doing it. But the Sterling R18 is supposed to be your guys' triggers pretty soon, isn't it?
Yep.
Or is that already happening, or is that still a pretty soon?
It's soon. So I have one in my gun room, which I have no power to show you in my gun room. Electrical product. Yeah. So we are working with Sterling to have an offering, and several other OEMs too in the works, which will be announced probably in the coming month or two. Some other great Canadian builders too. So Crusader Arms is one of them as well too, that do offer an upgraded package with the TriggerTech.
Right, Steve was mentioning that at TACCON.
Yeah, it was great. I was out with Steve. I was in Kansas with him 2 weeks ago, I guess, at TriggerCon too. So he was debuting his new Templar rifle, which is pretty cool.
And are you guys OEMing the SRV2 as well, or is that because I know that Rob was mentioning it at TACCON, but I don't know if it was supposed to be an OEM trigger or if he was putting your aftermarket trigger in there.
Still working on it.
Okay, fair. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a good question. Can your average Joe install a TriggerTech, or do you need a gunsmith? I can answer that question for you guys because I'm dumb as shit and I don't know anything about anything. And I have installed multiple TriggerTechs and they were a friggin' breeze. But what's the official answer?
Well, I think also what Mark was saying before, where sometimes the trigger was the last thing that people think about, is because, I mean, especially you look at an AR, I mean, a 3-piece trigger group, springs, it's kind of a daunting task for some people. Some people just want to buy a gun, do basic, put a buttstock on, a different forend. But, when they start looking inside the guts and all this, they go, wow, that's beyond me. The nice thing about us, once you pound those pins out and those springs and all that 3-piece trigger group go flying, all you have to do with our AR triggers is literally drop it in, the trigger pins, just 2 snug down screws, and you're off to the races. So anybody literally, by following the instructions that are given with the trigger, can basically install the trigger, very successfully. My first trigger I ever installed was a TriggerTech on my own. I think it took me maybe 10 minutes by following the instructions very carefully, maybe a bit of a YouTube video here and there. Now I can put a trigger in probably less than a minute. So very simple process. If anybody ever has any questions, I got a trigger in my hand, I'm looking at my gun, I got to put trigger in gun, I don't know how to do this, give us a call. I can literally walk you through the steps on the phone. So that's what we pride ourselves in TriggerTech, is our customer support. Our loyalty to the customers who express our loyalty to us, we definitely give back. So again, anybody has any questions, wants a bit of a walkthrough, give us a call. We'll help you out.
And what you said, based with or combined with what Kurt put up about Phil's comment about read the instructions, I will add that the instructions that you guys include with those triggers are very user friendly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's
it's really not a difficult process as long as you go through each step.
Yeah, we don't want, obviously, only engineers to be able to install these things. So, we look at ourselves as users as well. People who brought up on humble beginnings with our abilities in firearms and our training. So we often look back at, okay, what is the most common denominator, and we build that around that type of user.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. So I'm not sure exactly what this comment is. That Scott says that we need a Karen trigger.
One that you can bedazzle.
I thought it was like
Bedazzle.
I don't know where the talk to the manager reference goes into that trigger, but it's got to be somewhere. I don't understand. Okay, this is ancillary to our conversation. It's just been in the chat up to this point, but I need to know if this is actually true. Did a Montana police officer actually arrest an RCMP officer that was surveilling a gun show in Montana? Is that what Bending's been talking about for the last 2 weeks? Like, that's actually a thing?
Yes, I guess so.
What the fire truck is that about?
You know what? Hey,
what?
I don't know. It seems to me I did hear something about it, and of course you wouldn't hear that in Canadian news at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, what the hell he was doing down there, God only knows. But typical RCMP driven by liberal government, fucking overreach and inflated sense of importantness. Importantness? That's a word. Sure,
It's a good
it
word.
is
Yeah,
now.
sure it is.
It's now.
Tactical term.
Like, yeah, it wouldn't shock me to know that that's the truth. Unreal. Should we?
That's bonkers.
Yeah, it's incredible. Should we address the elephant in the room?
What is the elephant in the room?
Well, the very important message the liberal government came out with today.
Well, we kind of touched on it a couple of minutes ago
We
when
dive
Mark brought
into
it
it.
up. But
Yeah.
how much is there to dive into on that?
Well, I
I
don't
mean-
know. I had some questions today from some buddies. Like,
okay.
is that midnight tonight, or was that this morning, or
It was
are we
12:01
done now?
a.m.
Or that's right, this morning. So when you read that, wherever you read it, whether it was on the CCFR page or any other method, I guess it was already fucking done.
Yeah.
So
And
they came
to
out.
that point, Phil makes a good point that actually is contempt of Parliament to
Fucking right.
enact regulations before Parliament ratifies it.
Yep.
But in my opinion, it's contempt of Parliament. But who the fuck cares about what my opinion is?
Well, certainly not your goddamn prime minister.
No, I don't think he
That's
cares
for
about
fucking
anybody's
sure.
opinion.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
No, we're all a bunch of fucking peons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who knows what's going to happen with that? It's, I mean, as of right now, we just can't have guns. Did anyone else ask any other questions about it specifically?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm
The
sure
big one
there's
was like,
stuff
when
that
does
flew
it take
by.
effect?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
like it's
you-
12:01 a.m. this morning, right? Like it's
That's right.
fun, but
Yeah.
like it's
that's right.
Yeah.
Is this for real? Was another one I received. Yep,
Yeah,
I'm
the answer
afraid
is
so.
yep. Yeah. Do not adjust your dial. You're not dreaming.
Yeah,
And of course,
1984. Here we go.
well, Christ, as we get closer every month, it
Yep.
seems. Heidi Rastian, of course, is all over the CBC today, talking about how most Canadians don't even want IPSC athletes in this country, and
Yeah,
you know,
Jesus.
like the
fucking
fucking
Christ.
propaganda machine is full
Oh.
force. But
Absolutely, yeah.
it's something else anyway. David Walcott is asking a question that's a general question. David, thanks for joining us from the US. Is East Canada more populated than West Canada? Yes, and it is a major part of a lot of the problems in this country currently. The power disparity between the East and the West. It's kind of like tell me what you guys think of this. It's analogous to the North and the South in the US. Like Western Canada is the Confederate States.
Yeah, I would agree to that to some degree. Yeah.
Like for an American who like doesn't know a lot about Canada, like it's probably the easiest way of explaining it, don't you think?
Yep.
Yeah,
Only-
generalistic. Yeah.
Yeah, only we don't have that reputation with banjos in certain areas and cousins.
Oh, don't discount the banjos here, brother.
Yeah, I was just saying.
No, sir.
Those southern states love TriggerTech. That's all I can say.
Well,
I can't talk ill about southern states.
can't say anything bad.
We're not talking ill about anything. We're just talking features.
Features, yeah,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
things that happen at family reunions.
and potentially squealing like certain animals that are not eaten in certain religions.
Yes.
Did I get a little too detailed with that?
Yeah, moving on.
Okay. All right. I'm trying. I still have not got through all the comments here.
Oh, no, you won't, Chris. That's-
Scott is mentioning the MRX Bison comes with a TriggerTech. And I'm just going to scroll to the bottom. I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody else's questions,
Yeah.
but I'm scrolling to the bottom right now. And holy crap, I was really far over. Okay. Guys, let me ask you this. What do you think people in general, this might be a Trent question. What do you think people in general don't understand the most about TriggerTech triggers?
I guess the main question I get is, hey, I'm a Geisley guy. Why should I buy you? Once people usually try one aftermarket trigger, they kind of become a fanboy sometimes, and they just don't think there's any possibility of maybe anything better. I mean, I've fallen into those traps myself with certain brands that I've really liked using. And sometimes you kind of close your mind off to what other possibilities there are. So sometimes we get people literally, I mean, the best exposure we have is at the shows. People come by and you're like, hey, come into our booth. Have you heard of TriggerTech? And they're like, never heard of you. I prefer Geisley or another brand. I don't want to pinpoint on one brand or another. So that's why we have the test fixtures. Usually once people try one or two pulls, they just have that amazed look on their face and they go like, what is this? Like, I never heard of you. This is amazing. And I experienced that myself. I mean, when I went to the range with Mark, when I fired my first TriggerTech, I was just like, where has this been all my life?
Right.
And I'm sure I would say most people that use a TriggerTech for the first time probably experience the same thing. So again, that ultra crisp break, I mean, that zero creep just blew me away. To have like zero movement, grit feel on that trigger for that shot broke was just amazing. So I would say that's the big thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. I did see another question here from what?
Chris, just when you get a chance.
Okay. The Venerable Carly Kurtalitsa would like to know, are you guys going to be at the Precision Rifle Expo in Texas next month?
Yep. I will be there at Precision Rifle Expo with our new counterpart as well too. So we it's one of my favorite shows of the year, actually. We work very closely with Masterpiece Arms and Phil Cashins. So we will definitely be there at Precision Rifle Expo. So it's in Texas this year. I forget exactly where it is, just outside Texas, Dallas or something. But
I actually don't know
for sure. Yeah, we'll be there and stuff, and it'll be great to meet whoever made that comment.
So are we? Can we let the cat out of the bag on this thing? Like, because I don't know how to do this in chat, Rooster.
Well, I'm not sure.
Can we discuss how we're going to do it?
Well, Mark, did you wanted to do something? I'm not sure how we'll do this. He sent me that chat in WhatsApp there.
I thought that's on Grinder. Yeah.
Could have been there too. I'm not sorry, buddy.
He's outside here.
All crossed up.
It's on you guys. That's something we want to offer to your listeners.
Well, I want to do this in a fair way, but also in a competitive way, and I'm trying to think about how to do it. So we can mention it. We don't have to figure this out.
Let's do like an algebra question.
Let's do that.
Yeah. But okay, so we don't have to talk
geometry on our diamond trigger. If you can figure out the geometry and the ratios.
Can we let our listeners in on what we're talking about?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Do you want to do it, or do you want us to do it?
You guys do it. It's your show.
So, guys, we're sitting here and we're chatting with everybody, and Mark and Trent are having such a terrible time that they have decided to message us, and they would like to give away a TriggerTech trigger on the show live tonight. We did not plan this ahead of time, and even if we had, we probably still wouldn't
have come up with something. Yeah.
So we're going to figure out exactly how to do this, and you guys are going to follow along with us, and someone's going to win a TriggerTech trigger.
Let's let the comments decide about how, how should we give away a free TriggerTech trigger?
What are you willing to do on the internet today?
If someone has a good thing, if it's like I don't know, post something about TriggerTech and tag us, or send an email, or.
I was literally going to say the first person who calls my cell phone is going to win it, and I was going to put my cell phone number out, but I mean that's not smart.
Well,
so can we just put Trent's out again?
So my email is now
here. Let's put Trent's number.
Yeah, my email is now blowing up, just so you know.
Is it actually? Because that's hilarious.
Hold on, let me just check.
Yeah, Doug Rodenbush says, easy, send it to me.
Yeah, right.
Scott,
the guy who wins everything. Well, a few of these people have my number.
His grinder's blowing up.
Carly already has my number. Hey, Carly, you're live on the air. You're caller number 1.
Excellent.
We're waiting for caller 105.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're looking for caller 105. She hung up on me. Why'd she hang up on me?
She's also got the best response so far.
She'll eat a Klondike bar.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Ben,
No, you know what? I'm not even answering this one. Doug, who wins everything. Sorry,
Yeah.
Doug.
Yeah, Doug is disqualified.
Best knock-knock joke wins it.
Best knock-knock.
5 minutes to make your best knock-knock joke in the comment section. We'll pick someone right now. We have 5
I
minutes.
wonder, can people...
Let's do it.
This could
That's
get
the best way.
dangerous. This could get dangerous.
So we're just going to pick the best knock-knock joke then?
My son loves, he's 4 years old. He loves knock-knock jokes. And his
Oh,
best,
no.
Hey, how about
best one.
hey guys, how about this? What was the first trigger ever made by TriggerTech?
Oh, so
Is that a good
are
one
we,
or no?
are we going
You
to
know the answer
randomly
to that?
choose from the correct answers? Or
I don't know. Is that too easy? I don't know.
I don't know.
Hey,
You
Chris.
guys know?
Hey, Chris, I'm taking a page from my 4-year-old son's notebook. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Boo.
Boo-hoo.
Cry, baby.
Well, I at least we know that we're not giving that trigger tech to you.
My
Can
son
I,
won. I'll wake
Am I
him up.
eligible for the-
Shots
Are there
fired.
any good knock-knock jokes? Or is no one like participating in that? Those
So far everyone's wrong on the first TriggerTech trigger made.
Is that
Yeah.
what we're doing officially?
I don't
even
know. I don't know. I
Well,
just
that's
think
not a bad idea because no one's getting it right. So
yeah, everyone's
if you guys, the hint will be if you look at our logo, there's a hint in our actual logo.
The TM trigger?
hold on.
There's a logo. It's not really good, like depiction of it because it's not the embroidery's not the best, but you can't really see it.
Sorry, I'm trying. I'm trying.
The embroidery is not like super sharp to see what
Sorry.
there is.
It
A
kind
hint.
of looks like a back-to-back
You have like a
pair
trigger
of
deck.
combo.
Yeah, there we go.
Pretty
Look,
thick hat though.
if you
right?
look really, really closely, what's in the center? Of
Was
the
it
trigger?
actually?
Oh.
Oh, wait, I almost said it.
I
out
got
loud.
it.
Blind spotter's got a crossbow. All right, the witch crossbow.
Yeah, which crossbow?
Oh,
These guys don't know any crossbow models.
Well, fun fact is actually TriggerTech actually started crossbows.
Yeah.
That's how we got
Oh,
started.
really?
Our CTO was a big crossbow hunter, so that's how we got.
Hey, Kevin.
It's a big thing, but
Kevin gets it.
250
Kevin
pounds-
Vass. Kevin Vass gets it.
Oops.
No,
They're
Kevin,
moving
I know
too
Kevin.
fast.
Kevin gets nothing. I know him.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin. I tried.
Well,
I'm in
yeah.
your corner, Kevin. But,
Okay,
I
so
know the
just so
rule.
you guys know, that was the
Oh.
second person to say it.
yeah.
Oh, was it? Sorry, I suck.
Yeah, that was the second person to say it right there.
Was it? I don't know. Trent, is that right? Is it XCal? Like I know we did some. It could be right. I don't know.
So it's the Excalibur crossbow was what our CTO had.
Let's
that
call
was-
Matt's. Trent, call Matt's right now and speak.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him right now. The CTO of the company. 10:30 on a Friday night.
Matt's would love to be part of this conversation.
He'd actually probably be up.
Do we have a runner-up prize here? Doug
Who's there?
Rodenbush. Knock,
Our-
knock. Who's there?
Oh, this
RCMP,
guy
we're here
wins.
to take
Doug
your gun.
wins. Doug wins the trigger for sure.
No, Doug's not allowed to win the trigger. He's not allowed to win.
Yeah, I kind of like
Oh,
that.
sorry, Doug.
That's good.
I
Doug.
think-
was
I
with you,
think-
Doug.
I think the fair thing to do is that's our winner right there.
Who?
He's on the screen,
Yeah.
Mr. Castillo.
Dan Castillo. Yeah.
All right. Well,
He was the second person to guess the Excalibur, and the first person is apparently disqualified because he knows Mark personally.
Sorry, Kevin.
yeah.
So is that what we're doing then? Dan Castillo is the winner of a TriggerTech trigger.
I'm pretty sure I shot a PRS match with Kevin like last year, and my Kestrel battery was dead. I was like, he wants to swap a AA battery for a diamond, and everyone looked at me, and I think Kevin. I'm pretty sure it was Kevin.
Kevin, you care to chime in on that, Kevin?
Pretty sure.
I don't know, man. If Kevin sends you an email and starts reaming you, like, motherfucker, I don't know you, you might have to give away two
Yeah.
triggers.
No.
And first of all, only my email has been given out, so I look forward to that.
We shot the Northern Rimfire Precision Series finale in up by Paris Sound in Magnetawan, and we had the big lodges, and we were like next door to each other. So I know Kevin.
So what? How does this work here? Should Dan get in touch with you guys directly?
Yeah.
Yeah, so reach out to
Trent's cell phone number is 647.
no. So just reach out to Trent support at TriggerTech support at TriggerTech.com and I'll hook you up. We'll send you a
Only Dan Castillo send this fucking email, okay?
Everyone else will be ignored.
Everyone send an email to Trent tonight.
You see this shitstorm we've started.
The thing is, Trent will respond to everyone tonight, though. That's the kind of guy Trent is. So
I'm super excited that Dan has won this trigger, but I feel like with the shit show that we made of this, we probably just lost like 50 subscribers.
Right. It's like, fuck you guys. You never run anything fair.
But hey, Dan gets a new trigger, so I guess it's a trade-off.
Hey, I thought that was a pretty good knock-knock joke there, but the RCMP, that was pretty funny.
Yeah,
that was good.
Doug won't speak to me for months.
That was pretty funny, yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is Doug wins fucking everything.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
He really does. He used to come on the show just to brag about what fucking rifle or whatever he won like the week before in some obscure fucking thing in some obscure gun show in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. Like Doug has all the things and they're all won for free. Yeah.
Wow.
Doug's also a great guy.
There, buddy, by your
yeah, Mike Heineck is not far behind Doug for sure. This year was
well, and he was pretty close because Mike was the third person to say the Excalibur.
Oh, Ryan Hodgkin is on here.
What?
Good old Ryan Hodgkin.
He's disqualified.
Ryan's actually our other customer service guy who works with Trent.
Screw him.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
See what I tell you? Doug's he's not going to speak to me for months now.
Let's just give out his phone number then.
Yeah, there we go.
And Joel is correct. Joel says that Doug doesn't win everything. That is true because Joel is the one who won our EM Precision custom rifle with Apex rival scope. So
which we're still waiting on pictures from.
Hey, first of all, which trigger are we giving away here, Mark?
Trigger. We're giving an old
Excalibur.
In the boneyard. We made a trigger of their choice for their platform and their model. So,
all right.
Oh wow, man, that's pretty nice of you guys.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you guys and the shooting community, and I mean, we have a great support following of people that support our products, and we're happy to give some back.
That's pretty awesome. And not for nothing, but coincidentally, the live viewership bumped by about 8 viewers about 5 minutes after you guys mentioned that you were giving away a trigger.
Yeah. We're going to wait 10 triggers now. 10 triggers.
I guess we should have started with that, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Mike says you can call him. There's his phone number.
That's Jenny's phone number. Come on.
Yeah, that's Jenny's phone number. There's an 80s joke for you.
What am I calling him for?
I have no idea actually. So here's a rundown of what Doug has won probably just in the last 2 years. 11 guns, 2 scopes, a few knives, and $2,800 in camping gear in the last 3 years.
He's not helping. He's not helping his case.
He's not helping his cause. He's disqualified. Like
who was the other guy? Kevin? Who was the other guy?
Mike Heineck was the other one.
Yeah,
the guy that Mark disqualified.
That was Kevin Vass. Yeah,
I didn't disqualify anybody.
Yeah,
Kevin, I'm still in your corner, buddy. Still in your corner.
I think Kevin
said he was the second one officially, right?
Dan was the second one officially, but I was told that Kevin was disqualified. So I don't know.
I don't know.
This is your guys' problem now. I'm washing my hands of it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Hey, let's get some last minute thoughts in here before we call this a night. What do you guys want people to know the most about TriggerTech?
So I guess I mean, really excited with TriggerTech. We did move to a new facility late last year, so we are still in the same area in downtown Toronto in the West End, in Mississauga. So it is a much larger facility than we had before. So we have much more manufacturing capabilities. We're bringing a lot more things in house. We're expanding like crazy, like we've always have been. So There's a lot more coming down the pipe for us as far as we talked to briefly today with our new AR single stage triggers coming out. Ruger RPRs are coming out. We're getting to Glocks next year. We got some other things coming out too, as far as different price point triggers coming out as well too. So there's lots of neat things coming out as we expand, and a lot of great new hires and stuff we've had, and new processes. A lot of people don't know in the background, we're always improving our existing products, whether it's our adjustment screw or other parts too, that we're always making things better. And we don't advertise as much as we should, but like there's a lot of great people working at TriggerTech, and we're constantly trying to improve our products and give you guys the best products that we can put out. So very proud to work there. It's a great company, and lots more coming from us down in the near future.
Awesome.
Sweet.
So there's been a campaign here. Ron Wayne on YouTube. Look him up. He's kind of a big deal around here, I guess.
Yeah.
Look up Ron Wayne on YouTube. He does a bunch of reviews and that. And there's some guys here voting for him. You should send him a trigger.
Didn't Ron Wayne originally found Apple Computers?
I don't know.
What?
It's a different Ron Wayne.
The most interesting man in the world.
Right. I don't always shoot a TriggerTech, but when I do,
I don't always shoot your wrestle. When I do, I shoot.
Okay, so I just messaged them and I told them I told Ron to reach out to you guys. Like, I'm sure you guys probably get this, YouTubers reaching out to you looking for TNRs or sponsorships or whatever. So it seems like the best way to do it, right?
Yeah, you reach out. I mean, we do work a lot of influencers and stuff too. So the best is just send in, proposal or whatever you want to sales@triggertech.com, and we'll definitely get back to you.
There
Beautiful. You go. And once again, something I think that is expressly illegal in Canada, Doug, if I'm not mistaken, is binary triggers. Is that you're shaking your head? No,
non-binary.
We won't be doing any of that.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't think so. But okay. That's pretty much going to do it for tonight, guys. Make sure, unless there's another thing that you guys would like to get out to everybody.
I think we're good.
You're pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then everybody make sure you check out TriggerTech on the interwebs. We've given out phone numbers and emails and everything. It's triggertech.com or .ca?
.ca for Canada.
.ca for Canada.
So locate wherever you are. We're shooting wherever you are.
Perfect.
And just to reiterate, if anyone never needs any support, technical advice, issues arise, support@triggertech.com, or you can simply find our phone number online on our website. Give us a call. Myself, Ryan. No. Just so you know, I got a new phone now tonight, and so yeah, just reach out to us.
Who dis?
We return every single email. So just reach out. We'll do our best to help you out.
You're gonna have to put your voicemail on now with you reached Scott with Scotty's Paving new phone. Who dis? Don't bother leaving a voicemail. I don't check this motherfucker.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. All right, everybody. Please check out the show at facebook.com/BS podcast. Leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. If you like the content, please leave a like on the page and share. That includes the YouTubes. Make sure you subscribe. You can email us if you'd like. We probably won't get as many as Trent's about to get, but you can email us at info@bspodcast.ca. Trent's just going to spam us now. He's going to set up a bot that emails us every 20 minutes to... Yeah, this is what we get
now in the witness protection program.
Not doing this again, ever again.
We should mention to everybody, we are now on Rumble. If you're on Rumble, look for the Ballistically Speaking podcast. A lot of our YouTube content is being synced over on Rumble, and that ain't half bad. If you're still watching us live right now and you have not given a thumbs up or a heart or a smiley face or a whatever the hell on either Facebook or YouTube, please make sure that you do that before you log off. And as always, do you want to do this one, Kurt? I always steal this, and I always do
you
it
betcha.
all. Yeah.
as always, a massive thank you to all of our sponsors and supporters. Without you, we wouldn't be doing this. Well, we wouldn't be doing this as easy as we do. Makes a big difference, you guys. Shane and Steve with EM Precision Rifles, Miles, Carey, and Cappy with call sign 66, Duncan and Rob at Bolt Action Coffee, Phil Odell at Odell Engineering, Doug and Niza with March Scopes Canada, Vanya and Carly with Apex Optics, and Oscar with Ribstone Gunsmithing. I'd also like to mention a few others. Nomad Custom Gear, making great gear out there. I've got lots of stuff. There's right back here. Geez, I can't even. Little ammo wallet back there. Look them up, nomadcustomgear.com. Guard Dog Foam Inserts. Great guys down in Regina, Saskatchewan, making foam inserts for your Pelican cases and all that kind of stuff. They got a promo code going on right now. BS15 gets you 15% off your next purchase. Let them know that that you found this on the Ballistically Speaking podcast. Get your next case made up at Guard Dog Foam Inserts.
Do you have yours there to show everybody? Because they did a hell of a job on yours.
Yeah, just give me a second.
And we'll fill the air while he's gone. So is that TriggerTech logo? Was it based on the Excalibur? Or is it just, I've never seen it. Is it just a general crossbow, or is it
an arrow? So it's hard to see on the hat, but it's actually a crossbow arrow going through the T.
Hold on.
Oh, I see that now. Oh, yeah.
You can see the hat. The logo, it's a bit more pronounced. But
That makes a lot more sense. No wonder they figured that out once they saw the logo.
yeah, big arrow.
All right.
So there's
Guard-
the case.
Yeah.
Scotch.
Test the case. In a Nanook 920. And I also got some laser engraving done.
Look at that. Twisted rifle.
Yes.
Twisted Rooster. I almost said Twisted Rifle. It's the
You
Twisted
did say
Rifle
Twisted
Rooster Ranch. Wouldn't that be great if you screwed up your logo and that's what it said?
Nice.
All right, guys.
Anyway.
Hey, thanks for joining us, guys. This was a hell of a lot of fun.
It was.
And to everybody else, I guess keep your stick on the ice or whatever that's supposed to be. And we'll see you all.
Geez, eh?
Oh, geez, eh? We'll all see all you guys there next time then. Okay.
But some of these bullets, as you saw, have an incendiary device on the tip of it, which is a heat-seeking device.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Welcome to your weekly dose of BS, the Ballistically Speaking podcast.